Welcome, and back here we are, back live at the Naenae Bowling Club here in Wellington, as we bring you round three of the National Intercenter Bowls3Five finals here at Naenae. We saw in round two, in a tiebreaker, we saw the Nelson Spirit defeat the Blenheim Suns, and we'll get some other results shortly for you. And our feature game we're going to bring to you now is the Stokes Valley Vipers up against the Coromandel Mussels. And the Stokes Valley side, Nicole Toomey leading, Finbar McGuigan and Seamus Curtin skipping. And the Coromandel Mussels side is Colin Gawith skipping, Belinda Goodall's leading, and Lindsay Nicholls at 2. And we will get an update on what's going on. And don't forget, of course, you can just go to the Bowls New Zealand website and see all the live action, all the updates, all the results. With me, I've got Cherie Bryan from the Stokes Valley Club.
Hello, Kevin.
Welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Steve Bealt sitting alongside here as well. Welcome, Steve. Good to have you back on board. And a day of live action here for sure. And I'll just check that. So we've got Belinda Goodall leading for the Coromandel Crushers with Lindsay Nicholls at 2. And the well-known and well-performed Colin Gawith skipping in these, of course, 5 ends. These set play, two sets in these matches. And Cherie, you've been, of course, you're an active player yourself and part of the Stokes Valley dynasty. Would that be correct, is it?
Yes, I am. I was quite fortunate to be a part of the Bowls3Five since it began.
Oh, the televised event?
Yes, and it's great. It's a super profile going out there for bowls in general.
Well, I think, as Steve and I spoke about earlier on today, this new format that we're playing over this weekend, it's fantastic to see all the clubs involved. And, we see Finbar McGuigan draw just sitting alongside the Jack. And, we had the Dobson Club, for example, in round one from on the West Coast. Now, do you know how many members they got, Cherie? The Dobson Club?
No.
12.
Oh, really?
12.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
They had an increase of 7 to 12.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they couldn't actually have a final of the 4s before that because they had 7 players.
Oh, gee.
So it's fair to say, Steve, you're sitting there as well. This Colin Gawith skipper, the Coromandel Mussels side, we know that he's capable of playing any shot, and perhaps we don't know what shot he's going to play.
Not even he does. Sometimes I think it's he's well renowned for when you think he's going to be driving, he's drawing, and he does the opposite as well. But he can play, I can tell you. He
certainly can play. Here's Seamus Curtin, of course, part of the New Zealand High Performance Squad, and member of the Stokes Valley side for a long time, and one of New Zealand's up and coming players for sure. There's a pretty star-stacked lineup. Nicole Toomey, of course, as well. Winner of New Zealand singles. Finbar McGuigan, very, very well performed player, 2 down. The Coromandel side, and we'll see what Colin Gawith does here. There's Gawith. I'm not going to try, as I said, just going to try and predict every shot that he plays because there is a bit of variation and trying to play down under the head with weight to try and get movement on the jack. Not to do so leaves the draw wide open for Seamus Curtin. So
we might be on a first here too, Kev. The black team is playing with black bowls.
Yes.
They got stickers on them, no one knows.
Yeah, they have. So Curtin trying to make another one to count as he done so. We'll see from our market in about a moment.
Looks like it.
I'd say that third one would have counted. Nicole Toomey, of course, has got the mat. Well, there's 2 that have come out. Out comes the measure. We're looking at 3 shots to open the ends up. And Steve, the Stokes Valley, how have they got? They've only played. They didn't play the first round. They played one. Was that a winning encounter? Was it?
You should be asking Cherie that. Yes. She was watching.
They did.
She saw every bowl go down.
Who did they play in that round?
No, it went to a tie break, and they won on the tie break. So it was a little bit of a slow start in the first set, but they came back very well.
So it was 2. See the marker there indicating 2 shots to the Stokes Valley side. And Coromandel, do we know how they've gone so far, Stephen?
Yep, they've played 2 rounds so far, and they beat Birkenhead first round, the Stingers, and they lost to the mighty South Island Milton side.
Milton, the
South Otago.
Milton, my colleague John Macbeth just walking past and giving me a very, very nice welcome to the day.
He also saw there was 2 shots, obviously.
Yeah, something like that, Stephen. I think that's what it meant. The Milton Bowling Club.
Yes.
3rd oldest bowling club in New Zealand.
Well,
Probably got still some of the original members there.
What, Les Morrison?
Yeah, no, Les is still around,
Yes,
but he's
yes.
he moved up. Well, he was Clinton in the end, but he moved up to the Tyree. Played out there for a while. I saw his face featuring on the South Otago Facebook page there just recently.
He was doing the prize giving for the centre prize giving the other week. I saw him was winner of the guy we talked about, winner of the New Zealand Peers a number of years back. So Nicole Toomey, a touch on the jack. Certainly a very, very good player. No doubt about that. Is the young Wellington player, Lindsay Nicholls. Belinda Goodall. Up against a pretty handy lead for sure. But the good thing about this particular event, Cherie, that sure, all the top players are here, club players, but with being such a quick and short format, anything can happen.
absolutely. Yep, no, it sure can. That's not much forgiveness in the game of Bowls3Five. You've got to be on to it right from word go and continue throughout the game.
Yeah, you can certainly you can pay the price. You can't certainly drop big numbers. And don't forget, of course, just go to the Bowls New Zealand website and just click on there and the YouTube channel. There's all the platforms, and you can go on, tell your friends, relations, whoever, and they can watch the live action of this Bowls3Five finals here at Naenae, where we'll be bringing you round by round action right throughout the 2 days of section play and, of course, finals day on Sunday. It's obviously as well, Cherie, we've noticed here, Stephen and myself were commenting in the first game that on this remodified surface here at Naenae, if you don't take your green, you're going to pay the price, aren't you?
Absolutely. I've only played on it once since it's gone down, and yeah, you do need to take a lot more green than what it was before.
You saw there the value of just what we spoke about. Yep. You saw Finbar McGuigan draw around his front bowl, which was a metre lower the jack, and he drew round there, just caressed itself around the front round there. And Lindsay Nicholls now trying to get up to the head to get to the counting bowls. Will get one, and certainly made contact, but you've got to beat bowls in and around the head. And of course, the big thing about Bowls3Five is if you're not going to score, you certainly only want them to be ones or twos. You don't want numbers, do you?
You want to keep it quite minimal.
So, Stephen, the 2 rounds been played. All the results are up on the Bowls New Zealand website anyway, for us to try and predict what's going on. But any upsets in the earlier rounds? Do you know? Or
No, actually, I didn't take a close look.
That's fine, Steve. No problems. I said, go to the Bowls New Zealand website, and here's Seamus Curtin just drawing with dead draw speed, really under the head, and he'll be quite happy where that bowl sits for sure. Sits in amongst that little triangle of Coromandel, the Coromandel Mussel bowls, and I'm picking. You'll see Gawith going to his backhand now, trying to draw the shot. Remember, Stokes Valley only played the 1 game so far, and that was a win, a tie break. Coromandel have played 2 games, and they have had a win and a loss, as we saw that bowl of Gawith fall lower the jack, and pressure straight away now on the Coromandel Mussel side, dropping 2 shots on the first end. Seamus Curtin now with his second bowl. I hear Finbar McGuigan saying easy. In other words, he doesn't want any movement on the jack. Going to sit on the bowls and would be counting, but there is still good.
There's a bit of room there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a half a metre there, Stephen, really, in that arc into the centre of the circle to draw the shot. Here's Gawith now out on his back end. He's certainly got a wider line with this bowl.
A bit of weight.
Coming in towards the head now, getting applause. Is it going to get all the way down? No, it won't. And he'd be disappointed with that because, as Stephen rightly said, it was a 3, and as Stephen said, it was on a good line. So there's plenty of room there to draw the shot, really, wasn't there?
Yeah. Even I could have possibly got one there.
Well, I'm sure. Because Steve, who's sitting alongside us here, of course, still part of the defending New Zealand fours title holder. They won the fours in Central Otago a long time. A couple of years back now, because we didn't have the national fours last year. But we will be returning this coming season to Central Otago, where the national fours and mixed pairs will be held.
That'd be great.
You going, Sheree?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great event down there, absolutely magnificent. So good opening bowl again from Nicole Toomey, and as we've spoken about earlier on in the coverage, Sheree, getting that first bowl on top or close by the jack certainly gives you a big start, doesn't it? In this 5-end shootout, so to speak.
Yeah, you get a feel for that for your next one, and hopefully you make it a little bit kinder for your number 2 coming in.
Well, yes, and we saw in the previous game, Murray Scott, the lead for the Nelson side, gave their side a good start, end after end after end, and it just means it makes it easier for you, especially the number 2 coming behind you, that you're not trying to force shots. We saw Nicole Toomey there, got 2 right on top of the jack, and you just hear Colin was saying just tighten the bowl, tighten your line up. Because the danger is that you tighten it up and move that hand across and swing yourself under the line. But this looks a fairly good line here from...
Just a bit big by the look of it.
Yeah, certainly you're right, Stephen. Certainly had the line towards the jack. Now, of course, the luxury that Seamus Curtin and the Stokes Valley side have got with Finbar McGuigan, he can immediately go in behind the head by a metre, put some cover in there. And it's about like a game of draft really now. You can cover the damage possibility. If the opposition plays a scoring shot, you get bowls in over the head.
Drawing it off.
So you hit Lindsay Nicholls.
Jack level.
Been asked by Colin Gawith, it's jack level. Draw it off. And we'll see in a moment how that line looks. It's going to go by those. It's got that weight again, obviously putting that metre of weight on. So you'd think at this stage, Sheree, they'd be pretty happy. The Stokes Valley combination 5-0 up after 2, holding 2 shots on the head. You don't need to build it up any further, do you, really?
No. They've just got to make sure that they've got those bowls covered. So, I mean, quite often the kitty's not going to stay obviously where it is. Finbar's apologising to Seamus. So
well, you wanted that bowl over
because
I
just wanting to cover those back
we
ones.
I'm sure Steve and myself know pretty well what shots come in.
I'm on an early prediction he's going to be with weight. I think it's just sticking out there for him.
It's a pretty easy prediction.
Depends what happens here.
So
Lindsay's bowl.
Good.
She's got to be somewhere in the zone.
Yeah, she's in the bowl here. Just going by, but that sort of cast the story of what's going to happen in the ensuing bowls from the Coromandel Mussels, and Seamus Curtin will want to get a bowl, I would imagine, deep down to those back bowls. If we got to the middle, to the back circle, I think Seamus Curtin would actually be quite happy, because that's the weight that Gawith will be playing with to try and get that movement.
All right, mid-court conference. Shirts look good, don't they, on the Stoke?
Yeah, I just got Brendan Hodson's arriving this afternoon. Just got
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Yeah, I've just got that's just come my way. That it's en route.
Seamus covering those back ones.
Yeah.
The expectant father.
Very well played, mate.
Mate, he's landed
Very
the
good
tee, hasn't
shot.
he?
Yeah, that's
He's landed the tee.
and that's
brilliant.
exactly where we were talking about that where it needed to be, because that will certainly be.
Oh, Colin's only playing a fun run.
Yeah, this is a pet, but
Low percentage.
very low percentage, because he's got to get that line right inside those bowls. The two bowls there of Nicole's, Toomey's bowls. It's
Yeah, trying to split these, bro.
and,
Look good.
and change your hand, trying to get down to where that line of three black bowls are sitting, and that's the cover position where Seamus Curtin can get to. And I, like Stephen, was quite surprised at the weight that Colin Gawith played with that bowl. And
That's it, you're good.
Curtin needs to miss this front bowl. He's
Well
going to get
played.
past it on the outside.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Very good.
So I think the option here is really more weight down to the jack line.
He's trying the
Trying that.
he's more on draw weight, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
but
light.
that's not going to.
Kinda good.
Not cut under.
That's
He gave himself
Three it
a
is.
knowing nod there, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. He knew that that's not his normal game in that regard, for sure.
It's funny what TV rink can do for you sometimes.
Yeah, it's certainly not the way that one would expect to play. See quite a few Stokes Valley people sitting up on the stand here. Takaro, Sarah and Sims, the Takaro, they must be having a round out this particular game. Nicole Toomey now on the mat. To me, this lady, winner of New Zealand singles. She's one of the real up-and-coming, real top players for the future
Looks
for
like a
New
nice
Zealand,
start.
this lady. And just gets a touch on the jack. This goes by. But in and around that consistency, what we spoke about, and you know, Cherie, yourself, there's a good breed of a number of young players there at Stokes Valley, isn't there?
Yeah.
And competition's pretty hot, but that, Nicole Toomey, she's certainly I think she's one of the top players. She's in the top, well, I'd say, in my viewpoint, she's in the top echelon of players
Oh,
in
she
New
is.
Zealand without any
She
shadow
is.
of doubt.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. It's been quite interesting this year because they've been training, obviously, for the Com Games. So they've been playing on speeds that are very much different.
I'm not going to comment upon that. I've got my own views upon that when you're doing that 6 months out from an event.
Yeah. So it's been very tricky, and then of course they come into a competition like this. Yeah. they've
No,
got to
not really.
Reset.
No, not really. No, I don't buy that. No, I don't buy that raffle ticket. If you're at that level of play, as Stephen and I would both attest to, we were fortunate enough to have played on greens all around the place on all sorts of speeds, and it's really you adapt to it. Sometimes you can try and over adapt to these things.
It's generally easier to come from a heavy to fast than
Yeah.
the other way
Yeah.
around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good ball here from Finbar. McGuigan just drawing low of the jack.
Just landing the circle. That's all they're going to do, I think.
The
isn't it?
circle's the way to. You're right. And I think the other thing you've got to remember, Cherie, about this is that the greens at Leamington on Spa will be possibly a couple of seconds more generous in their speed, as the Australians have just found out in the last few days.
Yeah.
And when I was there not that long ago, the people at Leamington on Spa were quite sure that the greens would be at around 12 seconds. So, that's
Flying for them.
yeah, it's interesting. The Australian side are over there for a training camp, and they've been there 5 days, and they're still waiting for their luggage to arrive.
Oh, really? I think they've taken quite a large squad
Yes, they
over
have.
there as
They've
well,
taken
haven't
about
they?
205
No.
dietitians, all sorts of people. But
Who didn't make the side there?
yeah, it's a bit like that. And of course, Canada are also over there at present. Another good bowl here.
Very good.
And it's about, as Stephen rightly said, in this particular format of the game. You know, the circle that you can see there, the circle is really, that's your jack, that's the head, that's where you build to, and if you're getting consistency of numbers in that circle, you're going to give yourself a pretty high percentage. So Lindsay Nicholls trying to get underneath to get to one of that. It'll reduce the count, I would say. Might be 2. We'll see what that marker indicates. No, he's still saying it's 3. I thought it looked like 2 from my angle, but it is 2. He's just indicated 2 shots as the skips change over on the fourth end.
So Sheree, the Stokes side, Stokes Valley side, they're selected to play in this one, or do they have a wee trial or something along those sort of lines?
I think, after the TV league, it pretty well much spoke, for itself with these 3, playing this. And I think it's a great reward that the 3 of them have come back to play it together after, winning the final.
Yeah, well, that's correct. They won the last televised event, didn't
That's
they?
That's correct, yeah.
And
it's just a shame that, COVID impacted, and of course it couldn't go ahead again this year.
There's the Colin Gawith.
There's the Colin Gawith. There he is. He's down, draws a toucher. Yeah, you're right, Sri, but there's pros and cons each way. The thing I like about this format now is that, one, it's over in 3 or 4 in 3 days.
Oh yes, I agree.
And
2 seconds, maybe 3.
You've got clubs from, it doesn't matter, as you saw earlier on today. There we were, the West Coast side, 12 members, and here they are playing in a national event
on TV.
No, that is
on
great.
TV, and here's the Dobson people, and other clubs as well throughout this event. So, to me, this is Curtin looking on the drive to get through to the shot bowl, going to get the front and just go by. Great attempt. So the good thing about this, bringing this weekend all together, it brings, one, it gives everybody an opportunity. They all get a game on TV. They have a round robin competition. They've got 2 full days of bowls, and I just think it just adds a lot. And watching on Facebook as we've been building up to this event, there's certainly been a tremendous amount of spirit from so many of the clubs supporting their teams, which to me, we can't have this game without clubs.
That's right. That's exactly right. I think what's also been good is if you we've been getting it out to our non-bowling community as well, because we found that we had quite a large following of people that almost they adopted a club.
Yes, correct.
And enjoyed the following, week in, week out from the televised league. So we've sort of been telling people that this is on, and for us, fortunate the fact that it's in Wellington, they can come down and watch if they want, or watch the live screen streams that are on. So it's trying to bring the non-bowlers in as well. That's what I think Bowls3Five has been pretty successful.
It's been a tremendous innovation for the participation of the sport, whether it be Business House Bowls or this particular event. It's been, and from a Bowls New Zealand point of view, Steve, I'm sure you'd agree that it's changed some of the dimension of the game, hasn't it? Because it's all encompassing, isn't it? Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, it is, and it funny how it levels up the playing field. You see some of the top teams getting tipped. One perfect bowl in the end, and then win the shootout. Correct. You're into it. So, but what I'm with Sheree. Like just seeing all these clubs that are just wouldn't be here before.
Absolutely not.
Correct.
Brilliant to see, and just talking to the people, they're absolutely wrapped. Some of them are a wee bit scared fronting up on the TV ring a bit later on, but they'll get over it.
They'll get over it, and it's also fantastic for their supporters at home, their sponsors, and all sorts of, it just brings that, the new age, I suppose you could say, into our sport, which this particular format has done, and this tournament here, the way how it's been put together, endorses that. And and like with this situation here where we know Stokes Valley have won the first set, that doesn't mean to say they're going to win the match.
No, that's right. Well, I mean, we saw that in the previous game that Stokes Valley played, and how one-sided, that first set was played. So they had no choice but to come back very strong in the second set.
And we'll see a lot of, and the other thing I'm sure as we get through to the quarter-final stage on Sunday, there will be a couple of sides in there who people would say, well, gee, how did they get, there will be some, rest assured, there will be some upsets and there will be some surprises as we see the Coromandel side now. Nail that right onto the jack. 2 shots to Coromandel with that bowler Lindsay Nicholls, a toucher. And, it doesn't really matter how good a player you are in this particular event, as Stephen rightly said before, one bowl can make such a difference in such a short format.
Yeah, it does, and it just, and it's very hard to chase numbers.
Correct, Steve.
You've just got to be happy with one.
Yeah,
and survive that and get through your power play.
The big thing is that you're not dropping 3, isn't it? It's
3's like dropping an 8 and 4s.
Correct. So it's a match that you play for a 1 or 2 shot results, and the Coromandel side, although the first set is passing them by with we just saw Lindsay Nicholls draw a good shot. We saw Belinda Goodall draw a shot. It just gives them a wee bit more confidence now as well going into that second set. And when you've got this particular guy, Colin Gore, skipping, nothing's safe.
No.
He's certainly a player who can. He's won everything in the Thames Centre. He is. He's the. I don't know how many centre titles he's got in Thames Valley, but
he's got a few.
Certainly be a lot. You'd need.
He's still playing rep bowls for them too.
He certainly is. And most midweek tournaments that are going around there. As Finbar, you heard Finbar McGuigan saying to Seamus, Curtin is a good effort here. Certainly is. Just going to sit outside the shot bowl, one down. But again, watching that bowl from the time it left the hand, you could see that, and compliment to the surface, it got out on that arc and got duly rewarded. Back towards where the jack's sitting. Gawith won't have the weight here with this as second, but it's holding one, and I'm sure
didn't waste any of his good bowls in the last end, did he?
No, I'm sure same as Curtin would be quite happy to concede the one. First set gone by. No sense, don't have to do anything flowery here, just win the set. And this is more of a practice attempt more than anything else, trying to get down to the
middle one there. He's not even trying to get close.
No, just so there's the first set gone by, 8-2. That is to Stokes Valley Vipers. That's the side of Nicole, Toomey, Finbar McGuigan, Seamus Curtin up against the Coromandel Mussels of Belinda Goodall, Lindsay Nicholls and Colin Gawith. And remembering that we know that Coromandel so far have won 1 from 2 going into this match. And the Stokes Valley side just playing the one match prior to this one, and they were victorious in that match in a tiebreaker, that over the Birkenhead Stingers from North Harbour. And the Coromandel side, Coromandel of course played Birkenhead in their first game.
Yep.
So second set underway, and Nicole Toomey, as they won the first set, did the Stokes Valley Vipers. They will be have the first bowl, and here's Toomey just finishing outside the circle.
Right on it, B.
But right on that centre line, Sheree, isn't it? And that's the key thing, isn't it?
It's great. I mean, it's bit rare that the kiddie's going to come forward.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen it yet so far on this service. I don't think you would see it very happy.
It can happen.
Of course it can happen.
Yeah.
Good response here from Belinda. Goodall just
straight.
arcs towards the jack, just going to sit outside the outer circle. But will be the shot. Nicole Toomey, the Wellington player, very colourful Stokes Valley Vipers shirts, as are the Coromandel Mussels. Very colourful, good to see. Beautiful delivery from Toomey. And got the bowl under the line though. You can look at it, you can look at it, Seamus, but it's under the line.
It's going to walk away.
It's going to walk away for sure. Might have good weight, but sit outside. And you can see, of course, there, Cherie, that if you're inside this, the circle, that's where the counting is, isn't it? Not outside the circle.
For sure.
So good. It's a good.
Bend for you.
Yeah, it's going to bend. You heard Colin Gawith say, is it going to bend? But it got the weight to bend. No, it's not. It's going to finish.
Just a fraction short.
Yeah, just neither metre or weight would have certainly delivered a good result. Finbar McGuigan now. Another one of the up-and-coming players in New Zealand. McGuigan on the backhand. And of course, Finbar and Seamus Curtin play a lot of bowls together in Wellington. They play a lot of centre things, invitation events. They're lining up together.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been friends right since, well, they were wee.
Oh,
So-
wow, secondary school bowls, is, and yeah, they've been for a long time. It's correct.
Yeah, so they know each other's play fairly well. So they do generally. They're quite dynamic together, the two of them.
So Lindsay Nicholls going to be under the head and will come down inside the circle, because if it's in the circle, it'll count. And that does count.
In the back door.
In the back door, Finbar McGuigan want to improve on his first on the backhand. With the blue bowls, needs to improve by about a metre. As McGuigan's on a good line. And this is going to get applause. This will just break its way nicely in towards the centre line. And the jack will do so. And it's close to being shot. And the indication is that it is shot.
It's still there if you take green. Get
And-
back more water. Same speed.
Yeah, Colin Gore's quite right. It's that is still there if you take green for sure, because it will draw around that. Don't very often see this delivery now. What do we call the cup style delivery with the hand? You don't see many of those now. It just depends now on the weight. Certainly got it out on that good arcing area, but needs to get inside cleanly and will do so.
Okay.
So, although there might be one down, the Coromandel Mussels, this particular head sits quite nicely for them. A measure.
Just a little bit too quick.
A
That
measure.
just means Colin can't decide.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll get an idea shortly. But this is the first day that we've seen, Cherie, where Coromandel have had a good opportunity to possibly.
Yeah, well, often it happens when you go into a new set. Your mindset does reset effectively.
Well, correct. It's different, isn't it? So here's Curtin, same as Curtin on the mat on the forehand. In the area was the call from Finbar McGuigan, going to trying to set the
Good.
bowl,
Ooh.
and does so, and
3.
that wasn't the shot that he wanted to play, and there's the danger, of course, of getting that bowl under the line. And all of a sudden now, you see the black bowls of the Thames Valley Coromandel Mussels, which is sitting around the head. This is going to be under the head from
And short.
Gawith and short. He'll be disappointed with that, but definitely holding, and there's still room, of
Three
course,
down. Same
for
idea as
the.
the last.
Yeah, 3 down. You hear the call there from Seamus Curtin, but from Finbar McGuigan, but I'm pretty confident. Well, the ability certainly there for Seamus Curtin to draw into that nest of bowls. Certainly
Not as
got
quick
the
as the
bowl
first
on.
one,
It's
anyway.
not, no, and that's going to be. No, that's
in
going
the
to
zone.
hold all the way up, is it? Yes, it will. There's the shot.
Very good.
There's the shot bowl. Just sat under the centre line. Sits a lot now.
Now that we got to see some weight here.
I'm
Colin.
sure we'll
How many
see
seconds?
2 or 3 seconds that on that Gawith has
Three.
got. definitely two. So I'm sure we'll see one of those shots that we know this guy can play with.
It's a fun run.
Funny sort of weight that he
thinks he's high.
That needs to break quickly here. Needs to break real quick. Not going to. Made it hard. One down. And that was the good chance there for the Coromandel side to have a dominating head, but not to be. There's the Bay of Plenty, people. Well, there's the shot walking
Very
past.
good.
There's the shot bowl. Just sat under the centre line. Sits a lot now. Not everybody plays.
We've
Of course,
got to see some weight.
as we said, the Stokes Valley side only played they had a rest game, but they all catch up in the finish, don't they?
Correct. I think Stokes Valley have 3 today, and then they play 4 tomorrow.
Right, okay. So they don't play today, they play a full day tomorrow.
That's right.
That was Caitlin walking past from BOP, our lollipop girl from the other week.
That was the lady that helped us out at Te Puke, didn't
Did
she?
she?
And
Yeah, did a great job for us.
Yeah, spent the whole day on the lollipops for us when we covered the Regional 2 Interclub finals. Power play. Being called early is the...
Who's playing that?
Stokes Valley.
Stokes Valley. Okay. Normally boys leave it to the last to make sure they got the last
Yeah.
bowl, don't they? Hey, there's a bit of a change.
They're mixing it up a bit.
So Nicole Toomey on the mat with her second. This looks to be on a better line. How's the weight going to be though on the way past? Needs to sit inside this front bowler. Belinda Goodall's just going to sit on the back of it. Sits on the centre line. It'll be the Coromandel Mussels holding the shot.
I've got to ask Colin whether he brought some mussels down with him as well.
Well,
It'd be disappointing if he hadn't.
and just going to come up short. Finbar McGuigan now has got half a metre really to draw. If he draws just inside the circle, he'll have the shot for sure, leading 1-0 the Stokes Valley Vipers. And this is the second set after winning the first set by 8 shots to 2. As McGuigan's bowl now coming down towards the circle, needs to come back a bit more, is going to do so. Well, it's going to sit jack level, and it's the shot. Yeah, Colin Gawith just indicating it's jack level, and it's the shot. You can see clearly there on the screen, just sitting outside that, nearly touching the outer ring. And this bowl is good line here. Lindsay Nicholls are going to get inside the bowl of Finbar McGuigan. No, just drops by.
Just a bit of weight.
Just half
Good
a
line.
metre. It's a good line. Falls in. McGuigan now will try and just to beat his own bowl. And again on a good line is the young Stokes Valley player. He's going to get all the way down. Needs to get another half a metre of running. Not going to do so, but a very good line there for the
That much off, same
Coromandel side. You can see Grease Sharif inside the Blues.
the jack for 2.
Yeah, there we are. Inside the Blues. Get
Yep.
the jack. You got a trail for 2 there. Is it going to
Hungry line, but
needs
Oh,
a bit of luck here. Just going to go by, but you can see that's a shot to play, and I'm sure Seamus Curtin will just be wanting to get some cover down to those 2 black bowls there because of the Colin Gawith trail, and his bowl could easily make 3 of it. Fortunate they got Nicole, the Nicole Toomey bowl sitting in the middle of those 3 bowls. So if you were to roll up yet on this new surface, once you said, is that right?
Yes, just the once. And yeah, I did find it, it's quite different to the surface that was down earlier.
Well, that would, yeah.
that would be a good thing,
that
though.
would,
It started off really lovely, but here we go.
here's
Sixth.
Seamus Curtin drawing right, and So that leaves now, we'll see Gawith needs to be just outside the Seamus Curtin bowl to get that jack touch. He's quite capable of doing so. Just wondered out of the hand whether it was on the narrow line, can't quite see it present. Watching it closely though, coming down to get to the jack, doesn't do so. Good attempt.
Got one.
He's sort of, he's cut off some of his shot options there though. So there, get around the bowls to where that Nicole Toomey bowl is the call there from Finbar McGuigan. So on the backhand is Curtin. Trying to get past this bowl of Nicole Toomey's going to be under the line. And what's he going to turn up? Now, that might have just opened up. Yeah, there's that.
There's a wee port through
There's
there.
a wee port through there now to that shot bowl and jack movement. You can afford to play with a wee bit more weight
What about
because,
going underneath those two?
yeah, that's the shot underneath those two bowls for sure. Yeah, that's the line. I agree, Stephen. Down through that port there with a yard and a bit of.
Go underneath. Go underneath those two balls.
Well, there's no need for any uncertainty in playing this shot.
I think they're seeing it differently.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see who's boss here, eh?
Yeah.
Do as he's told or do what he wants to do.
So,
I think that's a do what I want to
Not
do.
like that.
not like that was the call. I heard that straight out of the hand, and I was a bit surprised at how that was actually. Oh, he's going to knock in the Nicole Toomey bowl, make two of it, I would say.
Was it enough?
Was it enough?
Power play, okay? No choice.
I think it's just the one, I think. So 1 for 2.
Yeah.
Two, just the one.
1, but it makes it for
Two.
2.
So it takes the now Coromandel Mussels just called their player play now on N3. So 3-0. So really, Cherie, Coromandel have to score here to have any chance.
Absolutely, yeah. What are we? We're playing the third. They want to get something on the board.
Oh,
right
there
now.
you know,
Yeah.
Got to get 2 minimum to make a 4.
That's a good start.
and perhaps then as well, Stephen, the surprising thing with that being Stokes Valley's power play, that what I would call that hesitant weight that Colin Gawith played that last bowl with, really, because with it being Stokes Valley's power play, he thought he'd play with, you know, that
Give it a chance.
give it a good chance to move some balls. You know, if he doesn't get, I just think it was a.
I think he was being polite. He was,
Yeah.
he was wanting to play one shot.
Yeah, yeah,
And the boss up the other end
Yeah.
wanted something else.
yeah. And that's
It's
certainly
not
not.
good when you're in two minds.
No. Well, he's not very often in two minds. So Nicole Toomey's come inside the line with this bowl. You might have seen a hand at the finish just move inside, and that's the old telltale sign that you're going to go away under the centre line.
You kick that speed.
And you heard then Colin Gore saying, hold your weight up. It was more the line for his lead, Belinda Goodall. And this is a pretty good attempt here. Is it going to get down to the jack? Or no, it's not. Well, she put more weight on, in fact. And in fact, quite a bit of weight on as it goes back towards the deep end of the rink. And as Cherie said, it's a must score here for the Coromandel Mussels to put their way into a possibility of getting to a tiebreaker. Finbar McGuigan will now sit on that centre line, and that's all. When you got the shot, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Draw it off.
And when you stand on the other end, just heard those fatal words you hear, dead, draw it off. Well, that's how often do we see then. Yeah, it's not drawing was.
Not draw weight and not draw line.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So you can see.
She gets another one.
Yeah,
See how the correction is.
Well, this power play now becomes, running out of options for the Coromandel side, so it's imperative now that Lindsay Nicholls can give that great bowl there from McGuigan, and they're building their head up. So, Colin Gawith giving that words of encouragement to his number 2, Lindsay Nicholls, saying you can do it. And how far is this going to come back? Needs to sit inside the blue bowl, making a good attempt to, but not going to. There'll be 2 shots to Stokes Valley at the changeover.
Well, Colin's going to have to play something special here, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah,
He's
he
still
needs a big
smiling,
bowl.
which is good to see.
Oh, he'll do that. He's got no worries there. But this is the end, as you rightly say, they've got to score. But I've been impressed with the drawing ability. Well, we know the drawing ability of these 3 players, but great to see them getting that draw game underway and getting back to the centre line, get into the circle, and Curtin being sensible about things.
Just getting back to the tee
Just
in case Colin does have a whack.
Correct, because he doesn't want that jack sliced around too far, and really for Colin Gawith, he needs to get 1 to get 2 just to keep them in this set. Otherwise it's going to, and that's not going to do so. That's under the line. You can see that out of the hand. They'll steer to the jack trick.
I think he must be finding it a bit different from the Starweed Green and Coromandel.
Yeah,
so.
where he owns that.
Yeah, get to that.
So even to score the 1 for the Coromandel side, to give them 2 to go into that 4th end, 3-2, gives them a chance. So if we can't do that, it certainly minimises the chance. But it does show again, Cherie, doesn't it, that if you look at that bowl, Nicole Toomey's right at the start of the head, that first bowl effectiveness, if you can get that literally close to or on top of the jack, it just, I'm not saying they stay there all the time, but it certainly gives your team a very, very good start to the head, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean they've set everything up pretty well on a power play end as far as if the kitty moves wherever, it's a double up of points. So they've just got to fill the holes basically.
Yeah, they did. It's to make sure in the power play you're not dropping a 3.
Correct.
To get 6. And really, what Colin Gore was trying to get was to get 1 to get 2.
That's right.
And in fact, it was negated by the Stokes Valley Vipers, in fact, themselves scoring 2 to jump out to a 5-0 lead after 3 of the 5 ends, after winning the first set by 8 shots to 2. So in a good position in this as we wind down on the end of round 3. The next game that we'll be bringing you is that of the Ramati Blues from the Kapiti Coast. That's the John Macbeth side. The Ramati side will be up against the Hastings Hornets on the Hawke's Bay, who had a late change in their side with Tanith Pottinger coming into the side, replacing Natasha Grimshaw, who became a COVID case, just like Barry Morrison, the manager here of the Naenae Club. Woke up this morning, had a test, and hello.
Oh, it's cruel.
I'm in isolation. So,
It's cruel.
Barry, I hope you're okay, and we're missing you here at Naenae. And, of course, as well, the CEO of Bowls New Zealand, Mark Cameron, who also is sitting at home in Auckland watching as he comes out of his isolation on Sunday. So, Mark, I was talking to him yesterday. He's all good.
Agent 19.
Agent 19, yeah. So it's the struggle here for the Coromandel side is after Nicole Toomey again giving the side a good start, is about getting bowls on the head, building the head, because that's the key to this very quick fire game. You just have to be.
Coromandel have got to get 2 3s, eh? So
yeah,
That's right.
draw's not going to get them through.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's correct, Stephen.
And the Vipers will be keen to hang on to the set for sure.
Well,
You know, it's going to come into the count sooner or later at the end. I think it'll be down to sets one.
Well, that's what we spoke about right at the very first round. You know, when Dobson won that game against Auckland, that by winning in the straight 2 sets, it is it does give you a better position than one each in a tie break. So, yeah, they'll be quite happy to get 2-0. Because remembering, of course, as Cherie rightly said, Stokes Valley won their first match, which was their first game. They did win that encounter in a tie break. So to win 2 straight, have 2 wins, of course, and to get this victory on 2 sets just helps their overall position.
Yeah, nice to start well. Just gives you that little bit more flexibility going to further games down the track.
I'd be surprised if there's any team that's going to go through undefeated. Someone's going to tip someone up sooner or later.
Oh, unlikely, absolutely. So you heard Colin Gawith just saying, get it on the head. The ditch needs to get the jack just going by.
Found every hole there.
Found everything. You're right, Stephen, and just drifted by on this, the 4th end at the changeover again. It's the familiar bowls of Nicole Toomey is holding the shot, and she's been pretty, she's just proved her consistency throughout this match.
Yeah, what she's doing is letting the boys just throw the bowls anywhere, really. Well, they can
She's
start
a good
covering.
girl to have on your squad.
But they're able then to put bowls in good places, so that they're only ever going to drop
right.
a 1 or at worst. And to get shot, you've got to be playing something pretty special.
Well, you're not playing catch-up heads, eh? You know, you're able to control the head, so to speak. So here is Seamus Curtin. Yeah, that very smooth delivery. Trying to get down to there's 2 black bowls down here, the deeper on the rink, and that's where Curtin's trying to get to. You hear Finbar McGuigan, acknowledging that, and they're in behind, down there. Any jack movement certainly favours that of the Stokes Valley Vipers. I'd call them, so we can say they're defending Bowls3Five.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they are really, aren't they? That's. So here's Gawith, needs to get inside this bowl. Oh, Nicole Toomey's not going to do so. Goes by, and of course Nicole Toomey won the New Zealand singles a couple of years ago in Auckland, and defeated Mandy Boyd, who's also here playing, of course. Defeated Mandy Boyd in that final at the Carlton Cornwall Bowling Club.
Didn't she drop a 4 in the first end or something?
Correct.
And come back?
Correct.
Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yes. So another good bowl here from Curtin. Just needs to get underneath. This is going to get all the way. Just out of the count. Just the 1 down is the call from the number 2 from Lindsay Nicholls to Colin Gawith. Well, there's not many options on here.
No, you're shaking his head there. No, I don't think he's quite sure what he's going to do.
There's not many options there at all. On the back end is Gawith trying to get past it. It's on the outside.
It's
high.
Light and not very handsome, unfortunately.
So, just the 1 here for McGuigan. So, again, I can say now it's all over for the Coromandel Mussels, because even if they were to score 6, of course, on this, the 15,
Draw.
that's a draw. And, of course, Stokes Valley winning the first set by 8 shots to 2. So it's safe to assume that Stokes Valley, after playing their 2 rounds so far to date, will be sitting unbeaten. And as Cherie said, they will play 3 rounds today. Well, is that right? 3 rounds today,
Yes,
and they play 4 tomorrow. So in their Stokes Valley, their next encounter, they're up against Milton from South Otago, another one of the smaller clubs who will be delighted to be here at this event.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, one of our smaller centres.
Certainly is, and great to have them here.
Just getting told off here. Tamara gave me that evil look.
Tamara, the star of the show.
Absolutely.
Captain
Couldn't do it without it.
Yeah, captain producer. Yeah, gives the salute. Don't be offended, Colin. So, Nicole Toomey got this bolt out wider.
Might be a touch high, but
Yeah, it's going to finish on a pretty good spot. That's where you want them. Just sitting a bolt outside the circle. And you notice here on the screen, Cherie, as you can very quickly see out of the hand, you can get a pretty good idea pretty quickly whether they're what the line looks like.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Once you find your line, it's
Yeah.
happy days, but if you don't,
yeah, both seem to go down the way down line.
yeah.
So, Finbar McGuigan, a very promising Stokes Valley player, of course, been part of the high performance, New Zealand high performance squad, and going to finish just low of the circle. And there's the drawing port in between the two bowls, Nicole Toomey bowl and Finbar McGuigan bowl. Just getting around the front bowl would give Lindsay Nicholls shot. Don't go under it. It's the, yeah. And yeah, so,
See the double teapot coming
yeah, I
out
saw
here
that.
from Colin.
Yeah, that was a big catering teapot. That's a big one. As it drifted well away under the line. McGuigan again. And it's interesting, too, like you did the first game with me, and even in the second game, either sides yet have really got domination out of their power play. All
right.
Yeah, it's you know, we haven't. Oh, yeah, I think we saw one number, but it's been pretty conservative.
Yeah, the ones, weren't they, in the first game?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
So outside the line
which is
here.
good management from the opposition. I
Absolutely,
suppose,
it is.
playing
Yeah,
it.
it
It's,
is, yeah.
you got to go. Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, it's about, as you know, in this game, as you rightly said before, I think, Cherie, you can't go searching for shots, because if you do, you're going to put a noose around your neck.
Correct. Yeah. And I said earlier how unforgiving it is if, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
you've got to, every single bowl has got to be that, it is like that chess game you were talking
Well,
about.
it is. It's about having effective bowls, and
Yeah.
you got to be at a very high percentage of effective bowls in this format to really dominate a match. And here's Curtin now drawing right into that circle, and you know that. The learning thing for this is that, and I'm sure you would agree, Steve, is that, you know, the circle is your jack, isn't it, really?
Yeah, you start getting into that, then into the circle, and good things will generally happen. I caught a bit of the second game there, and you know, the heads were quite tight there.
Yeah,
and,
they had a number of tight heads.
Yeah,
yes.
you know, they were into the inner circle, not just, you know, the big circle. So
Here's Colin Gawith. He'd be happy with that. Drawing the shot, sitting.
he seems
Jack
pretty
level.
pleased with himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. And Seamus Curtin's going to change his hand, and on the backhand, the aim to try and get the jack just around the corner. So here he is on the backhand. Is Curtin just trying to get a touch on the jack, but he's going to be under the line. Needs a bit of luck on a slice all the way
Slide.
through. Yeah.
Yep.
But, yeah. Well. Yeah, that's a bit of, you know.
When you're holding and things going well, the
It's-
guy to bowls, he does
Yeah.
smile on you.
Bit
or she.
unlucky there, because he was really under the line off target, but had to wait to get to the target area, and was rewarded. So here is
Those few options.
Gawith trying to reach
Yeah.
through,
He thinks he's high because he's wriggling his rag
and
around.
trying to get down now to the jack or shot bowls on a good line. Just going to go by. It is.
Gee.
And it'll be a 1 to the Stokes Valley side, giving them a 7-0 win in this, the second set, to go with their 8-2 win in the first set. So a convincing win for the Stokes Valley Vipers over that of the Coromandel Mussels. My thanks to Cherie Bryan and Stephen Beale, who have been with me throughout this match. And where the next game will bring you is the Raumati Blues from the Kapiti Coast up against the Hastings Hornets from Hawke's Bay. So we'll be back very shortly for round 4.